A very good morning, everyone. In our previous session, we have completed the concept of exception handling. In our today's session, we are going to complete introduction to the template STL. In this particular topic, we are going to cover the introduction portion regarding template, class template, member function template, overloading of template function, non-type template argument, primary and partial specialization, introduction to template STL, and overview of iterators and containers. Remember one thing, that this unit we have taken the theoretical portion because this is the important questions which may be asked during the exam. So without wasting time, let us start with the introduction of template. Now see, what is template? A template is a simple and powerful tool available in C++. The simple idea is to pass data type as a parameter so that we don't need to write the same code for different data types. That means when there is a requirement in which based on your data you just need to decide the data type of a parameter, at that time you can use the concept of template. For example, there is a software company which may need a sorting of different data types. Sometimes the company needs to sort integer data, sometimes company needs to sort float data. So based on the data, it will call different types of data types. So rather than writing and maintaining multiple code, we can write one short function and pass data type as a parameter. So only the concept of template is what, when you need to understand it by the example, that when there is a software company which contains one short method, right? But sometimes the requirement of company is about integer data sorting, and sometimes it may be possible that company wants to apply sorting on the floating point data. So based on the data, there is a requirement to call sort function. So instead of writing two separate sort functions, template gives you the facility. You just need to pass the data, and based on the data it will automatically consider the data type of parameters. So over here, what we are going to do, first of all, we are having the example of class template. We have included two header files, iostream.h, conio.h. Template is a keyword through which you can declare or you can initialize the template variable, template class temp. So now what happens, how template can be declared? Using template keyword, less than and greater than sign, and the class temp. Here you can give any name of template. Right now I have given the name of template temp, right? Now I have created one class called number. Now see, the data type of A and B is of temp. That means either it may be integer or it may be float, depends on the data. When I call this particular template, at that time the data type of variable A and B is decided. Now over here I have declared parameterized constructor of class number. Inside parameterized constructor, again the variable A and variable B contains of temp data. That means right now the data type of A and B variable is not fixed. Now this of A is a variable which is declared in the class, and this AB variable is a variable which is coming from the argument list. Now we have taken one more function which is called void sum. Addition is an A plus B. So using this function you are able to print the addition of two numbers. Now see, what you need to do, you need to write the structure of void main, we are going to perform clear screen. We have created object of number class number n1, but over here before any object creation between less than and greater than, we are going to pass data type name. Over here we are going to pass integer into bracket 10 comma 20. So now what happens, using this particular line, wherever you have used temp, it will consider it as a int. That means over here int a comma b, int a comma int b. So basically for the first time when you pass the data, when you pass integer data type, in such case the data would be integer and answer would be 30. n1 dot sum will call addition is 10 plus 20 30. For the second time when you create the object of number class, at that time I have declared data type as a double. So wherever you have used temp variable, instead of temp it will automatically replace internally double data type. Over here also double A, double B. So what is the use of template? I am going to repeat this particular concept once again. A template is nothing but, consider the example of company which contains sorting of function, but sometimes company wants to perform sorting on the integer data, sometimes company wants to perform sorting on the float data. Based on the data, company is going to call the sort function. So for such purpose, instead of creating two different sorting functions, you just need to create single sorting functions with the help of template. So in future when you call sorting function, at that time you just need to decide the data type of sorting and you can perform your task with the help of simple sorting function. In this case only you are able to see that for the first time we are passing data 10 into A and 20 into B, which is integer data. For the second time the data type of A is double and data type of B is also double. So based on the data you are going to perform calculations and you are going to present the data. So over here when you want to use template in the class, at that time what is the first thing you need to do? After has include, you need to write template keyword between less than and greater than sign. We are going to create class template, so keyword class and name of variable. Now whatever the name of variable you have applied over here, that name you need to write over here. Again with this parameterized constructor also you need to write temp over here. So basically temp is used 3 times in the class number. Now when you are going to create the object of number class, at that time you need to pass the value into the argument list, as well as between the sign of less than and greater than you need to decide the data type of this particular object. Right now for the first time when n1 is created, at that time we have passed integer data type. For the second time our data would be of double, so when n2 is created it will considered as a double data type, and wherever you have written temp it will replace double, and in this case it will replace integer. So in both the cases it will call this particular parameterized constructor, but for the first time the variable the data type of variable A and B is integer. For the second time the data type of variable A and B is double, and output would be 30 in first case and 3.3 in second case. Now second is called function template. Function template means UDF. So how UDF is created? See, void sum, say for example integer A, integer B, right? So now, or I am going to return the value of a. Now two brackets opening and closing and return a plus b. This is the simple UDF with argument with return value. We have already created this UDF in our previous videos, right? So instead of integer, what you need to do, you need to create one class template, and instead of using the name of data type, you just need to write temp keyword. So over here instead of integer, I have replaced it with temp, similarly temp a and comma temp b. So this is called function template. Function template means we are going to create UDF with the help of template. And what is the use of template? You do not need to initialize, or you do not need to mention the data type of any variable. Instead of that, you need to write template. So in future, from the based on your data, it will automatically replace the data type. So for the first time, we are going to pass integer data. So over here it will replace integer and it will return answer as an integer. For the second time, we are having double data, so it will replace over here, temp will be replaced by double and it will return double answer. So you just need to perform for the first time. If you don't know how to write template, at that time just write a simple function or simple UDF in which we are always going to write. Then you just need to replace the data type with temp keyword, and for the after the conio.h, you just need to write template keyword, the sign of less than and greater than, and in between sign of less than and greater than mention class temp. Here you can declare any variable which can be used over here in the argument list also. So this is the easiest way to write the function template. You just need to mug up the definition regarding the template. A template is nothing but when you don't want to specify the data type of variable or function or class, at that time you can create or you can use the concept of template. In first case, we have taken the example of class template using template keyword and less than greater than sign, and we have taken class template. Inside the constructor, we have used template A, template B. So for the first time, the data type of this particular template or parameterized constructor would be integer. For the second time, the data type would be double. Next program is based on the function template. So those who don't understand how to write the function template, you just need to write simple UDF and in this way, and instead of integer, you just need to replace the variable template, and template can be initialized using template, then less than and greater than, and then class template. So this is the second program which is related with the function template. Third is called member function template. Now see, don't ask me that what is the difference between function and member function template. See, if function template is there, it is not part of any class, but yes, if you declare any function as a member function, it must be part of any class. Then and then only you can call that function as a member function template. So when you need to create such, when there is a requirement to create such kind of member function template, at that time first of all you need to create one class. So over here I have created one class called book, which contains two variables. One is called ID and other is called price. But what is the data type of price? That is of temp, because sometimes price may be of integer, sometimes it may be of float, or sometimes it may be of double, right? So over here I have declared it as a temp. Now Get data method contains integer I, which is used for the id, and temp p. Remember one thing, whatever the data type of price is there, that data type you need to mention in the variable p. So for the both the variables we have taken data type as a template. So in future, from the based on the data, we are going to decide the data type of variable price as well as variable p. Now void print data is responsible to print the book id and price on the screen. Now see, from the void main, when you create the object of book class, at that time for the first time I have specified data type as a integer. So when I call get data, at that time I need to pass second argument as a integer data. Why? Because over here the price is declared as a template variable. So for that I need to decide that which kind of data I want to pass. So for the first time I have passed 110, that is the representation of integer data. So template contains integer data type for the first time, and it will print book id is 1 and price is 110. Now second object is created for the book class, but we have defined data type double. So we are going to pass data as a double. So 2 to 0.50, right? That is the data which we are going to pass inside this particular price, and it will print book id is 2 and price is 220.50. So output would be predicted easily, but the way the representation of template is a little bit difficult. So you just need to understand the syntactical part of the template. So this is called member function template. I am going to repeat the difference between function template and member function template once again. When there is a function template, it may not be a part of any class, but when you are going to define any class which contains some function inside the class, at that time that function is known as member function template. And over here get data and print data are the member function of book class, but get data contains template which is declared inside the argument list. Next is called overloading of template. See, overloading of template is also possible. How? That when for the first time you are having class temp variable, for the second time the same print function can be used. This is just for the one argument, this is used for the two arguments, right? So you can declare multiple template, and that concept is known as overloading of template. Now let me execute the program. First of all, we have declared template with one argument, and we have taken print method which contains temp object t, and we have printed message inside one argument template and the variable t. Similarly, for the second time I have taken template which contains two argument. One variable is declared as a temp1 and another variable is declared as a temp2. So now I have again created the same method. See, what is the concept of overloading? Function having same name, same return type, but argument would be different. So over here print function contains single argument, over here print function contains two argument. Now see, when you are going to pass 1 into the print function, at that time it will automatically call this particular template. It will print inside one argument template, and 1 is printed on the screen. After that we have called second print method which contains 2 comma Rahul. So the 2 is catched inside T1 and Rahul is fetched inside the T2 object. So it will print inside 2 argument template 1 and then Rahul. Now see over here, for the third time we have called print method, which contains first argument as a string argument and second argument as a integer argument, which is also possible. Why? Because over here we have taken the concept of template. That means the data type of this particular template is not fixed. So based on the data it will automatically call the template. So in this third line it will print inside 2 argument template Raj, and then 3 is printed. So this is called template overloading. I am going to repeat this concept once again. What is template overloading? Before understanding the concept of template overloading, you need to know that what is overloading, which contains the same function name, same return type, but argument list would be different. For the first time we are having only single argument, for the second time we are having 2 argument list, right? But over here the data type of temp1 and temp2 is not decided. So when you call print function this 2 times, at that time this is the integer argument, this is a string argument. Again when you call print function, this is a string argument and this is the integer argument. So such thing is possible because right now we have not specified the data type of print function. So it will print on the screen inside 1 argument template, 1 is printed, inside 2 argument template, 2 and Rahul is printed, again inside 2 argument template Raj and 3 is printed. Now see, non-type argument template is there, using which you can specify the type of template. That means over here, see, in this case this both will work properly, but see, I don't want to allow the user to use this way, right? That means I want to restrict the user to input certain kind of data, right? So for that I have created one print function. The data type of t is not fixed, but integer number is fixed. So what is the requirement of this? See, when you are going to pass Raj comma 3, such thing is possible, but when you are going to pass 2 comma Rahul, that means first argument is of integer and second argument is of string, it will generate error. Why? Because compulsory our second argument would be integer. So always remember one thing, that when you want to specify non-type argument template which contains the template list as well as non-type template list, so both can be specified within one function, and that template is known as non-type argument template. And in this, remember one thing, first argument should be any data type, but the second argument must be of integer. So over here Raj comma 3 will work properly, but if you are going to call print function using 2 comma Rahul, at that time it will generate error because our second argument would be of integer. Next is called example of primary specialization, simple class template, or partial specialization, non-type argument. That means when you want to specify the size of template, at that time such thing is possible with the declaration of class template, and that is called primary specialization or simple class template. Now let us understand this code once again. See over here, integer a array of 1, 65, 66 and 67 is the collection of array which we have passed. Now see, when you create integer array of 1 which contains 65, 66 and 67. So when we create the object of array class, at that time we need to declare two arguments. One is called class template, means the data type. First of all, I have specified data type as an integer, and the size of array. Over here the size of array is declared as a 3, and we have created object of a1. Inside a1 we have passed array of integer data type, which contains 65, 66 and 67 in the list. So when you pass this particular array is created, a of 0 contains 65, a of 1 contains 66 and a of 2 contains 67. Because the data type of this particular object is what? Data type of this object is what? We have declared is it as a integer, right? So integer comma size is 3. So this loop is executed 3 times, and it will initialize the value of a of 0 by 65, a of 1 by 66 and a of 2 by 67. Now when you initialize that value, after that it will print integer array on the screen, and a1 dot display will call display function, and the size is declared as a 3. So it will print 0, 1 and 2, that is 65, 66 and 67 is printed on the screen. Now see, over here I have taken data type as a character for the second object, right? And how many values I am going to store? 5 values. So with the array class I have taken character data type, and the size of array is of 5, and over here I have passed array of 2. Now remember one thing, that when you call this particular line, at that time it will go inside this particular constructor. Now what happens? A of 0, which contains capital A of 1 which contains capital B, A of 2 contains capital C, A of 3 contains capital D, A of 4 contains capital E. A, B, C, D and E, and the size of this array is 5, and size of this particular array is 3. So now what happens? When you execute this particular code, at that time we have mentioned data type as a character data type, and this is the ASCII value of capital A to E. 65 means capital A, 66 means capital B, 67 means capital C, 68 means capital D, and 69 stands for capital E. So over here with the help of class template you are able to specify the data type of any variable. For the first time when object is created, at that time we have specified data type integer, and size of that array is declared as a 3. Similarly for the second time when array 2 is created, at that time the data type of array is character, and we have taken the size of 5. So over here in the memory the size of 5 array is created for the second time, and size of 3 array is created for the first time. And because this is a character data type, so it will store character data inside the array. So when you call display method using second object, it will print capital A, B, C, D and E on the screen. And when you are going to print integer data, at that time it will print 65, 66 and 67 on the screen. So the output of this program would be integer array 65, 66 and 67, and output of this particular code would be character array A, B, C, D and E. So this is called primary specialization, or we can say no non-type arguments or partial specialization. Now STL stands for Standard Template Library. A standard template library is nothing but it is a collection of classes and functions which you want to use for the program development, and naturally it is a ready-made classes or functions. So when you are having a requirement to use certain classes or function, at that time you can directly use that functions into the program, which gives you the facility to reuse the code, which saves lots of time of program development, as well as there is a less chances of error because it is a ready to use thing, right? So you just need to call that classes or functions directly into the program, and with the help of that program you are able to reuse certain kinds of code. Now using STL, it saves lots of time and code, and it offers almost all the general purpose functions which you need to use for the program development. Now see, if you want to use any namespace, at that time you need to use using keyword, then namespace keyword, and then any namespace name you can write over here. So in future when you are having the requirement to call certain type of namespace, at that time you can directly call it with the help of namespace. Last is called overview of iterators and containers. Remember one thing, that STL is divided into three portions, or we can say there are three basic components of STL. Number one is called container, number two is called iterator, and number three is called algorithms. Now container is nothing but which contains object, and it is considered as an object which contains the actual data. So in future when you want to use the template, at that time with the help of container you are able to use it. Iterator is a certain type of object which points to the pointer of another element in the container. And iterator means what? When the processing data element of container such as searching, sorting or copying, that process is known as iteration. And algorithm is the like just like a function. We people know that lots of time before writing the program we are going to just write the algorithms, right? So in future when you want to develop program, at that time you from the with the help of algorithm you are able to develop the program. See, now various types of containers available in the STL are: vector is there, list is there, deque is there, set, multiset, map, multimap, stack, queue, priority queue. These all are the examples of container. Now see, if you want to use this particular container, at that time there is a header file which you need to include. Suppose if you want to use vector container, at that time vector header file you need to include. Now iterator is there. Iterator means the cursor movement flows in which direction. Suppose you are going to use list container, at that time iteration should be bidirectional. Bidirectional means the iteration should be movement should be possible in both the ways, either from the left or from the right. So similarly these all are the examples of container. Similarly the required header file which you need to use when you want to use certain kinds of container, the list is given over here here. If you include that particular header file, then and then only you are able to use the particular container or iterator. And here is the description regarding each container, for which purpose this particular container is used. So this is all about the theoretical aspect regarding the introduction to the template STL. Here we have taken the example of vector container. A vector is nothing but it is a dynamic array which supports insertion and deletion of elements. See, suppose you are going to use simple array which is also referred as a static memory allocation, right? But when you want to provide dynamic array, at that time you can use concept of vector, and vector gives you the facility to insert or delete element in the queue or stack. So you are having 5 functions which is related with the vector class. Say for example, size method gives you the total number of elements which contained within the vector. So if you want to get the number of elements which is stored inside the vector, at that time you need to use size function. Similarly, capacity is there. Capacity means what? How many elements you are able to store inside the vector. Such thing can be possible with the capacity function. Similarly, there are two functions which is called pushback and popback. Generally, pushback is used to insert element at the end of the vector. Similarly, pop is used to remove last inserted element from the vector. And if you want to remove or clear all the elements from the vector, at that time you need to use clear method. Here we have taken the example of vector method, but remember one thing, that this function may not, this particular program may not work in the Turbo C editor, because Turbo C compiler does not give support to the vector.h header file. So if you want to compile this particular program, at that time you need to use some other compiler in the program. So this is all from my side. Over here we have completed unit number 5, and over here we have completed our syllabus of C++. Wish you all the best for your exam. Perform the programs properly, write the journals properly, prepare well for the exams, and if you have any doubt or any query regarding the programs or regarding the topic, you just need to call me, or you can message me personally. I will solve your doubts and I will give the reply based on the questions. Thank you all.